Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I'll be sharing with you this kind of like a random walk created using loop nodes. So loop nodes is quite new in Sverchok, and if you look at the thread, this is loop in and out nodes. There's a lot of really interesting things you can create using loop nodes. Um, Especially this one, I like to recreate, but you can just use this example. Yeah, so loop nodes, although within Sverchok, lots of things you can simply just plug a lot of multiple values and you don't need to loop it. But I think with loop you can actually do a lot more. So here what I have, it's basically a kind of like a knot and random lines. This one is a little bit more curvy, and this one is actually this guy over here. I bevel the curve, so I can control the curviness over here. How I started, I start with a single value of random starting point, and I could have 5 of these, and I think it's gonna loop, and yeah, but I just have 1 point, and then I put this inside the loop, and the loop needs loop in and loop out. I can iterate the loop. So let's say I have only 5 iterations of the loop. So with this starting points, it's gonna create random path. But you might notice this knot. I think the knot is the interesting part. It's because of this guy over here. So I can change the number of knot. So what's really happening is here inside the loop, it's recreating and generating a random vector in which I move it 25 times. So I have 25, while it's creating random points, it's also generating 25 random points for each step of the loop. So this is what I think kind of I thought is kind of useful, and it clicks on me that we can do that. And then I simply join all the points together, and then at the end I use UV connections to connect all the dots. So I started from a single point, and then I create a random vector. That's a single loop, but for every iterations, it's going to generate a couple of more random points, and I can have like 50 or 100. So that's the basic idea of the loops. I think that should be clear in your mind if you ever want to do a loop. So if I try anyway with the loop, so with a simple, you can use simple grid, Sverchok nodes, and try simple plane, and I want to use extrusion or just inset faces. Let's use preview. So this is the default. File, save as. So maybe I have something like this, and I want to iterate this a couple of times, but each one using random value. So you can do that. Let me try also doing this like this. So if you are doing it like this, it's gonna extrude every face the second time, unless you use the mask here. So that's only extruding It's only extruding the extrusion, the first one, I believe. Yeah, okay. So this one is applying the extrusion for every face, right? But we cannot randomize the depth. However, we can do that using loop. So let's say we keep this, and then I duplicate this guy, and I use loop node. So loop in, pass in the data. I just use the vertices and face data. And we need a loop out. And let's see the output. It's gonna be something like that. So it looks the same, no different, except that we can do iterations multiple times, and we can actually do random quite easily. So if you want to do like iterations multiple times like this, we can perhaps reduce the value of thickness for every iterations or something like that. Be careful, it could be kind of heavy. There's also these options for each that I haven't tried. We have also this loop number and total loops, which is can be handy for index and randomizations, seed. Okay, so we can start. If you want to have like a random mask, perhaps you can start with a number here. This is going to be the third data, and this goes into the face mask, and then this goes into the third data. Alright, so now it's a little bit better. I want to try to randomize the thickness and the depth. This random number, the size will be the length of polygon face, while the seed will get the number from loop number. Hopefully this works. Okay, so we have something. Maybe instead of doing it on the thickness, I can do it on the depth. So we have different extrusion for each iterations. So it's starting to get a little bit more interesting. So this is the loop number, plug into the seed, and the size coming from this guy. And let's use math on the seed. I think this should work. Oh, okay. Interesting. Maybe we need to float to integer over here. Okay. It seems to be working, right? Random extrusions for each one of these. Yeah, I'll try thickness. Okay, there's the depth and thickness that I could play around with. They're overlapping, but anyway, we can always try different things, plug into that guy. For example, icosphere. vertices, polygon face. Well, okay, super random. It does a little bit resembling like a snow something, and you can iterate multiple times. Be careful, it's kind of heavy. By default, it's set to maximum to 5, but you can do a lot more. You just need to perhaps reduce the number of extrusion each time. Alright, so there you go. That's a first look into loop in and loop out nodes in Sverchok. Hopefully you'll find this useful. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'll definitely gonna come back to loop nodes again very soon. But give it a try. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.